Good morning everyone, let's get started on today's analysis. We have EU on the top, DXY on the bottom, we're on the daily chart. So what's the daily chart showing us going into this new week? Today you can see we are very bearish so far. We have a lot of bearish momentum this morning and we've blasted our way through two previous daily lows already. Okay, so we have quite a large engulfing candle at this time. Same on DXY of course. Gone through previous daily high, not so much the day before that, so there's some SMC divergence, right? In terms of the overall picture, we seem to have found maybe some support previously or enough sell side liquidity to have this bullish pullback here. However, we're still within a discount, I would say, of this daily leg. So I thought there'd be more potential for a further pullback, maybe to a premium, but we'll have to see the lower time frames because clearly there's this mini leg in between here and we are in the premium of that. We may have met a premium POI as resistance, which I believe I remember there being on the lower time frame. So price may just be continuing the trend, that bearish trend we had from this point here. Let's just move on anyway to the lower time frame and see what that's showing us. So on our 4-hour chart here, I believe we're still internal to this bearish leg here, say from this high to this low. We pulled back fairly correctively, as I had been mentioning in my previous videos, up into this 4-hour order block, which I've reduced down to just the last candle because we did wick up into that area. So we've rejected so far this premium, this POI, after filling this imbalance, right, and actually sweeping some previous highs buy side liquidity and eventually breaking down. So this is all that bearish momentum today, and we are heading towards this imbalance and order block. So we do have this possible future support, right? So at the moment we've rejected the premium, the POI, taken buy side liquidity, and naturally we're heading towards some sort of sell side liquidity POI. So all of that makes sense and I think looks good to me. We may continue this trend, right, using this bearish structure. However, once we're down into this area, I'll be looking to see how price behaves, whether we hold this as support, and maybe it will show those early signs that, okay, price may head for more of a premium in that higher time frame leg. Couple possible scenarios, but in terms of day trading, I like the fact, yes, we're continuing this direction, swept that buy side liquidity, wanted that breakdown even on Friday, didn't quite break down, but now into today, we are breaking down towards this zone here, which is where I will probably stop selling just to see how that acts as support. So just as this is potential support, this imbalance with order block here could be potential resistance in the future. So we might be mindful of those areas if we do reject this and then begin to make bullish price action. This may become resistance to continue that bearish trend we had on a higher time frame. I think that's enough on the 4-hour. Let's go down to the 1-hour, see what that looks like. Alright, so personally for me, it looks like the 1-hour has switched to now a bearish structure. So just to explain, we were making high highs, high lows, high highs, high low, high high, obviously a sweep, a wick, rejection of that 4-hour POI, taking out buy side liquidity, made this high low, then lower high, broke that low, broke down below this low and this low, okay, making a new bearish 1-hour leg. Alright, we've left behind a 1-hour order block POI, same as the 4-hour POI, and imbalances there. So when we revisit that, it maybe is resistance. So we'll keep an eye on that if we come back there. As you can see, I've got this comment here as a draw on price. Right, this is the sell side target for me, I believe, where we may see support. So I probably wouldn't be trying to sell beyond there. Price has a lot of momentum this morning. We are in a discount of this price leg, but I think I would continue sales just because I think this draw on price here below is powerful, and I think that DXY has also done the same, taken sell side liquidity right from this same area, heading towards buy side liquidity, lower high, high high. The negative from selling in this area would be, you know, price may actually want to pull back to a premium of these legs, so it probably wouldn't be the highest quality depending on how that formed on the lower time frame. So I hope that's clear. Any questions, just let me know in the comments. Right, we seem to have switched structure. Okay, high, high, low, lower high, lower low now. So heading towards possibly this draw on price. All right, so I think that's what the 1-hour is showing us. Okay, and we'll just be mindful of these supports and resistance areas, and then once price breaks down and maybe makes another structure again, it'll be more telling as to where the high time frame direction is probably going to be. Okay, because this is just that first initial breakdown. So I think that's enough. Don't want to ramble on too much. Let's move on to the M15, see if there's any trading opportunities for this morning. Alright, so this is what I have. There's a lot of momentum this morning, so we may not even get this, but this is the most clear and obvious opportunity. It not being in the premium, and with a, say, high time frame POY up here to reject before going down, makes it a little bit less of quality for me, personally. However, I think this draw on price below is powerful after taking all this buy side liquidity. Right, so I do think we're to come into this higher time frame POY here and feel the imbalance, right, continuing this new price action structure. Okay, so the M15 made a clear, obvious internal sweep, right? We've swept above these highs here, broken down. We've left behind clear M15 order block here with imbalance, right? Heading towards this draw on price, going with that higher time frame narrative that I wanted from last week, really, as you can see from all of these trades I drew out, which didn't quite play out well on Friday. We have the negatives, as I said, that we're in a discount. We have premium, higher time frame POYs up here. Price doesn't look like it's going to come up into this area at the moment because of all this momentum. It looks like it wants to meet its target possibly down here first. But if we get this pullback, which could be nice and corrective like this, into this zone here, mitigate this 15-minute POI to then trade lower into this draw on price below here at that extreme discount where, like I said, I would stop looking for sells, right? So we'd have possible inducement around this zone here. If we get a corrective pullback, we have a sweep of internal buy side liquidity about this high and these highs here, which brought momentum into the market as London opened and broke down. So the momentum and that new switch in trend is on our side. The narrative is on our side as well. But like I said, there could have been better higher time frame confluences in play here, but that draw on price seems obvious. So if we get this pullback, I think this would look good. Alright, we've got the same breaker structure over here on DXY now, and we also have similar POI in this zone here for price to pull back to and hopefully reject if it does that. Given the momentum and the way price is moving, we may just meet this target first, and if we do that, like I said to you, I'd just be looking to see what price does down here. Price may start to make structure, sweep that structure, break above, let's say, and pull back, and we can maybe look for longs, right? So I made this a bit longer and more complicated because price may just find a lot more structure here. We do have news in the MY session, so we may not get any trades today, but let's say we make a structure, we sweep some sell side liquidity, then we break a structure, leaving behind an M15 on 5 order block, right, with imbalance, where we can then set our order going in the opposite way if structure looks like it's being held there, preferably M15, right, because it's with trend. So I would want to see this hold and switch on the M15 to give us any signs of what the high time frame is going to do. So yeah, something like this what I'd be looking for in the future. Once we get into this zone here, using this POI and structure, I would be willing to get long, right? You can see the momentum still kicking in. I'm not sure if this is going to happen. So I hope that was clear. Let's move on to GJ. Right, so on to GJ. We've clearly been very bearish here on the daily, ever since we started to make these lower highs, lower lows, rejecting this daily order block here, breaking down very well from there. And so far in today's candle, we look to have been bullish this morning, right? And we've withdrawn somewhat. So maybe we hit some lower time frame POI or whatever it is, and that's pulled us back this morning. So we'll see what that looks like. We're clearly in very much of a discount of this leg. We've left behind POIs, even up here we have a daily order block. We're going to be in a discount. Maybe we're due a pullback. There is still a sell side liquidity target, say just below here, where price may need more sell side liquidity from to sponsor such a pullback. We'll see what happens there. That overall bearish structure, but we may have opportunities to go long possibly. Now, today's daily candle hasn't swept any previous weekly or daily lows or anything, though those are nearby, so we may see what happens from there. Let's go down to the 4 hour, let's see what that looks like for us. So on the 4 hour here, we have that clear bearish structure. We have our most recent structure here where we have this high to this low. We We're clearly within a discount. We may have found some sort of support here at the moment, because you can see we was quite bullish up until about this midpoint here, this equilibrium. Took some buy side liquidity above this high, and that seems to have sponsored maybe a bearish move from there. So for the last, say, 2 hours or so, we've been quite bearish. Yeah. So after taking buy side liquidity above these highs, which is natural, right, for it to sponsor some sort of move. So I can't see what the 1 hour structure would be like here. Apart from that, we've made a new high internally, but we've left behind this 4 hour order block, large imbalance. So the price may want to come from this discount to fill that. So my initial biases here now are, yes, we're in a bearish trend, but I have indications now from this discount here that my bias for today would be to look for longs to head up into this draw on price and this premium zone here. Of course, I'd love a bit of sell side liquidity on side, so we'll see what happens, or what structure looks like, say on the hourly at least. So saying that, let's go down to the hourly and see what that looks like. So here on the hourly, I think it's helping with my bias somewhat, right? Again, we have that bearish leg. We've definitely made support here, some structure, you can tell by price going sideways. So if I read this more closely, we have this low. We made this internal high, right, above these highs, pulled back, high, low, right? It's a bit messy, but you can read it, high, low. And then we went on to wick above that high as a high. We haven't closed above it, which I prefer, but that buy side liquidity sweep sent us downwards with quite a lot of momentum. However, we have a 1 hour order block POI here, which is currently being rejected, would make this a weak high. So we have a high, low, high, low, would make this a weak high to come back to the premium to this 1 hour and 4 hour draw on price. So I think that's pretty clear for me, but any questions, just let me know. We may see it more clearer on the M15 time frame. But just bear in mind that structural switch that we're kind of seeing here with that low, high, low, high, possible high, low now, right? If this is confirmed here, we're going to see on the M15 some sort of switch in structure. So I do like what I'm seeing. This draw on price here looks good. From this discount, we've taken plenty of high time frame sell side liquidity, some internal sell side liquidity here as well, as we can see, which would have sponsored that bullish move. Right, so I think that looks good. And my bias is to the upside. Counter trend move, probably targeting these highs all the way towards here, depending on what price does, right, in the rest of this session. So in saying that, let's go down to the M15 and let's see what that's showing us. So here on the M15, we can see how that bullish switch occurred there. If we even look at the previous day's price action, we had a sweep of sell side liquidity here internally. Price went on to make a high above this high. Pull back down. We've come and mitigated this M15 order block here, right? But this was obviously late into the evening, so price hasn't gone anywhere. Now into today, Monday, price again swept sell side liquidity into this M15 order block, and we've eventually gone on to make highs, break of structure above these highs here. Left behind, I suppose, a cluster of order blocks there, but we've got the 1 hour order block here clearly. After making that sweeping high, taking that buy side liquidity, we fell, and so far we're rejecting this point here. So what would I be looking for to enter a trade on GJ? I think this structure here, to wait for this to break, is probably going to be too large of a move, maybe. So maybe like what price is doing now, if it forms some sort of structure here, that may be best. The safest option is to obviously just wait for us to make a new high above this high and then look for some sort of price action to get involved. But for the sake of ease, let's just say we pull back down here. Don't know if we sweep this low or not, but let's say we do. And then we break above this high here as a break of structure. Then we can get our corrective pullback to M15 order block with an imbalance to go long, maybe targeting these highs, but ultimately towards this premium here. So I think this is what would look the easiest with what price action is doing. M15 order block, sweep of internal sell side liquidity, break of structure around here. This would be more clearer on the M5 maybe even, and then a pullback that may be corrective to our order block below. Set our order stop loss just below those lows there to go up towards that possible weak high now from having this high low high. Again, as I said, if we aren't able to get in here and you want to wait for that safer option, you may get something up here right after this high is made, and there may be some structure to continue on. We'll see what happens. Right, prices had to come a long way down to here, and you may have to wait for that internal switch here to go long. We'll see. Previous daily low and previous weekly low just below. Maybe price uses this sell side liquidity to sponsor, but my bias is definitely to go long up into this area here. So I hope that was clear. I hope you gained value from that. Any questions, let me know in the comments. Remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys soon.